Every great transformation begins at the very edge of your breaking point. This specific crucible like moment is the true starting line for all profound change, not the initial burst of motivation that often fades. When you feel you can't take another step forward, when your emotional and mental reserves are depleted, that's exactly when you're closest to a breakthrough. This sensation of profound exhaustion and near defeat is not a sign that you should turn back. Rather, it is definitive proof that you have pushed past your previous limitations and are now standing at the doorway of your next higher level self. The universe doesn't test your strength to defeat you, it tests your alignment, your energy, and your belief in the unseen. The perceived difficulty is not a punitive measure, it is a vetting process. It asks, are you truly committed to this new reality? Or are you just superficially interested? The pressure mounts specifically to expose the weakness in your commitment, allowing you the opportunity to fortify it. This is why the friction feels so intense. You are not fighting an external enemy, but the gravitational pull of your old comfortable reality trying to reclaim you. The test is simply to see if the frequency of your desire is stronger than the frequency of your fear. Most people turn back just when they were a single decision away from everything changing. They mistake the final, most intense wave of resistance for a sign of failure and retreat into the safety of their past habits and known outcomes. They fail to understand that the emotional and psychological discomfort they feel is the exact energy required to power the quantum leap. It is the necessary tension before release. That discomfort you're feeling right now isn't punishment, it's the friction before expansion. Think of a rocket escaping Earth's gravity. The most intense, fuel-burning part of the journey is not the cruise through space, but the moment it breaks free of the atmosphere. You are currently in the most demanding phase of your ascent. Every storm that shakes you is actually shaping you for something extraordinary. The metaphor of the storm is highly instructive. A storm doesn't just destroy, it clears the air, it uproots the weakly planted, and it waters the foundation of what is meant to endure. Your personal storms are doing the same. They are eroding the beliefs, connections, and structures that are not strong enough to support the future version of yourself you are striving to become. The intense emotional labor you are experiencing, the doubt, the stress, the weariness, is the inner transformation necessary to create the outer result. You cannot step into a new identity without first shedding the skin of the old one. And that shedding process is inherently uncomfortable and often painful. But when the dust settles, you will find that the clearing has created space for something far more resilient, expansive, and aligned with your highest potential. Your ability to endure and choose to move forward in the face of this profound friction is a definitive proof of your readiness for the transformation you seek. This moment of crisis is, therefore, not a problem to be solved, but a sacred signpost indicating you are on the precipice of your most significant breakthrough yet, provided you simply choose to lean into the discomfort and refuse to retreat. The magnitude of the discomfort you feel is directly proportional to the magnitude of the destiny that awaits you on the other side. The human mind is fundamentally wired for tangible evidence. We are conditioned to seek immediate, physical proof of effort and result, which is why we often become discouraged when faced with a process that demands sustained effort without visible reward. But the truth is, the most important progress happens in silence, in moments when nothing seems to move and the external world appears entirely static. This period of stillness, far from being a time of stagnation, is actually a crucial phase of deep foundational development, often termed the incubation period of transformation. You might not see the shift, but the shift is happening. This concept requires a fundamental recalibration of what we define as progress. We mistakenly equate forward movement only with observable, measurable changes. Yet consider the essential processes of life and nature. The seed grows underground before breaking through the surface. Before that dramatic emergence, there is a complex, unseen orchestration of chemical reactions, energy absorption, and structural development happening in the dark. The entire destiny of the plant is determined by the robustness of that invisible progress. To dig up the seed every day to check on it would not accelerate its growth, it would destroy it. Similarly, constantly scrutinizing your own internal progress for immediate external validation often interrupts the delicate invisible restructuring taking place within you. Energy rearranges itself in dimensions your eyes can't yet perceive. Physics teaches us that energy is never created nor destroyed, only transformed. When you dedicate time, focus, and emotional energy to a goal, whether it's learning a new skill, changing a habit, or manifesting a life change, that energy does not vanish simply because the external outcome hasn't materialized yet. Instead, it is actively working on the invisible scaffolding of your future reality. It is forging new neural pathways in your brain, the science of persistence, dissolving old mental limitations, and attracting the necessary resources, connections, and synchronous events that must be in place before the visible breakthrough can occur. This alignment process often requires a specific sequence of events, and time is the medium through which this complex energetic choreography is executed. The apparent delay is often just the universe ensuring all the dominoes are perfectly set up for the most impactful chain reaction. So when you feel stuck, remember the invisible is preparing the visible. That feeling of being stuck is frequently the moment right before liftoff, when the internal pressure has built to its necessary maximum but has not yet overcome the inertia of the past. It is the feeling of the seed right before it cracks its shell. The work you are doing, the meditative practice, the committed study, the discipline saving, the consistent positive affirmation is creating an invisible tipping point. You are accumulating momentum below the surface. And once that critical mass is reached, the external visible results will not merely trickle in, they will often arrive with a sudden, seemingly miraculous speed that belies the slow, hidden preparation. Life is aligning pieces you don't even know exist yet. You are only aware of your own perspective and your immediate environment. However, the manifestation of any significant desire often requires the cooperation of hundreds of external factors. The right person needing your exact service, a forgotten opportunity suddenly resurfacing, or a new technology becoming available at the precise time you need it. These external pieces are often being moved into place outside of your awareness. Your job is not to control the timing, it's to maintain the frequency of faith. To hold the frequency means consistently showing up, doing your part, and most importantly, believing that the unseen forces are working on your behalf. It means trusting the incubation process. When you surrender the need to control the how and the when, you liberate yourself to focus on the only thing you can control, the quality and consistency of your inner state. By maintaining the vibration of certainty, you provide a clear, steady signal for the invisible progress to lock onto, ensuring that when the moment for the visible breakthrough arrives, you are perfectly aligned to receive and sustain it. The power lies in realizing that waiting is not passive. It is an active state of determined invisible cultivation. Every dream encounters resistance before realization. This resistance is not a random obstacle designed to frustrate. It is a fundamental law of creation, an energetic counterforce that arises precisely because you are attempting to shift your identity and your reality from a lower frequency to a higher one. The greater the potential impact of the transformation you are seeking, the more formidable this resistance will feel. It is a necessary friction, a signpost confirming the magnitude of the change you are initiating. The resistance isn't a wall, it's a mirror reflecting your deepest doubts. When this resistance appears, it manifests both externally as setbacks, delays, or challenges in the material world, and, more profoundly, internally as paralyzing self-doubt, procrastination, and the temptation to revert to old habits. The internal aspect is the true challenge. The resistance simply holds up a mirror to your own subconscious programming, illuminating the limiting beliefs you still harbor about your worthiness or capability to achieve the dream. It forces you to confront the very core of your identity because a major breakthrough demands that the internal self must be congruent with the external result. If you believe, deep down, that you are not capable of sustaining success, the resistance will manifest to test that belief, ensuring you either prove it wrong or succumb to it. When you face inner conflict, you're standing at the threshold of the old and the new. This is the most volatile and sacred space in the entire transformation journey. It is a moment of intense energetic tension, a psychological tug of war between the familiar and the future. The old version of you desires safety and predictability. It is comfortable, even if that comfort is mediocre or unfulfilling. This old self argues for retreat, using logic rooted in past failures and fear of the unknown, desperately trying to maintain homeostasis. Conversely, the new version demands surrender and courage. It sees the vision, feels the potential, and pushes for the uncomfortable, expansive action required to realize it. The conflict you experience, that dizzying back and forth between clarity and confusion, commitment and quitting, is the sound of two distinct identities fighting for control of your life's direction. That tension you feel is sacred. It means you're rewriting your identity. The moment of peak resistance is the definitive point of no return. It signifies that the old mental blueprint is actively being dismantled to make way for the new one. This tension is not a breakdown. It is the force of the universe concentrating your energy for a breakthrough. Every time you consciously choose to act in alignment with the new identity, despite the discomfort and the pull of the old self, you are forging a new, stronger neural pathway. You are proving, not just to the external world, but to your own subconscious, that your commitment to the future is greater than your attachment to the past. This act of persistent choice under duress is the very definition of character development and the fuel for actualization. Don't retreat into the comfort of what was, step boldly into the discomfort of what's becoming. Retreating during this pivotal tension is what separates those who dream from those who achieve. To step boldly means acknowledging the fear, feeling the discomfort, and acting anyway. It means recognizing the resistance not as a stop sign, but as an indicator that you are precisely where you need to be. The level of discomfort is directly proportional to the size of the leap you are about to take. Embrace the tension as a necessary growing pain, a sign that the energy of your future is pressing in on your current reality. The moment you stop seeking comfort and start pursuing expansion, you shift the balance of power. The universe rewards movement, not fear. It supports the energy of commitment and forward momentum. By moving through the threshold of resistance, you demonstrate ultimate trust in the unseen path and solidify the inner transformation that will inevitably manifest as external realization. This resistance, therefore, is not your enemy, but the final gatekeeper to your success, demanding one last proof of your unwavering dedication. The law of energetic alignment is one of the most powerful and misunderstood principles governing personal reality and manifestation. Its core tenet challenges conventional wisdom. You don't attract what you want, you attract what you are. This means that the external conditions of your life, your relationships, your career, your financial standing, and your opportunities are not arbitrary occurrences. They are precise reflections or mirrors of your dominant internal energetic state. Your life is not responding to your verbal declarations or wishful thinking. It is responding to the vibrational frequency you consistently emit through your deepest beliefs and habitual emotions. The moment you begin to embody the vibration of the person you wish to become, life starts to mirror that frequency back to you. This is the operational secret of true manifestation. The effort should not be focused outwardly, trying to force circumstances or chase opportunities, but inwardly on cultivating the feeling and the state of being associated with your desired outcome. If your desire is success, yet you habitually feel inadequate, anxious, or perpetually chasing, you are emitting a frequency of scarcity and lack. Life, being a perfect mirror, must return experiences of chasing and lack. To shift the external reality, you must first become an energetic match for the outcome. You must shift your inner frequency to that of fulfillment, certainty, and abundance. This means that if you want peace, you must become peace. Peace is not an external condition to be acquired, it is an internal state to be chosen and maintained. When you prioritize calm emotional regulation and non reaction, you are actively vibrating at the frequency of peace. The universe, in turn, filters your external experiences, bringing forth situations and people that align with that serene frequency, naturally dissolving friction and chaos. Similarly, if you want success, you must feel successful before the evidence shows up. This is the leap of faith required by the law of alignment. It means adopting the posture, the confidence, the decision-making patterns, and the gratitude of the successful person you intend to become, even while your current bank account or status may not yet reflect it. By feeling the gratitude and certainty of the future now, you close the energetic gap between your current self and your desired self. Every thought sends a signal, and every emotion draws a signal back. This concept establishes the human mind and heart as sophisticated broadcasting and receiving stations. Your thoughts are the electrical impulses of the brain, the initial signal. Your emotions are the magnetic field of the heart, the powerful drawing force. When the two align, when your positive, expansive thoughts are genuinely felt with conviction and certainty, you create a coherent, potent signal. This signal is broadcast into the universal field of energy, which then acts as a giant impersonal delivery system compelled to organize corresponding circumstances, resources, and synchronicity back to your physical location. Conversely, if you hold positive thoughts, I want abundance, but dwell in negative emotions, I feel broke and worried, the powerful magnetic pull of the emotion overrides the weak signal of the thought, attracting experiences that confirm the dominant feeling of worry and lack. When your inner world aligns with your desire, the outer world has no choice but to respond. This is the point where the law of energetic alignment becomes deterministic. It is a fundamental cosmic rule, not a matter of luck or chance. Once the inner alignment is achieved, when your deep subconscious beliefs, your habitual emotions, and your conscious intentions are all broadcasting the same frequency of the desired reality, the external reality must conform. The universe acts as a highly efficient mechanism designed to reflect back the energy put forth. You are not waiting for a miracle, you are creating one from within. The miracle is the transformation of your own vibrational state, which then naturally and inevitably compels the external world to reorganize itself in perfect harmony with the frequency you are now emitting. This shift in understanding moves you from being a passive recipient of external events to the conscious, powerful architect of your own energetic destiny. The concept of failure is one of the most paralyzing illusions in the human experience. It is a harsh label often applied to any outcome that deviates from our expected linear path to success. Yet in the grand scheme of creation and achievement, true failure is far rarer and much less catastrophic than it is commonly perceived. Failure is not the end, it's feedback from the universe. It is an informational exchange, not a final judgment. When an action does not produce the desired result, the universe is not condemning the effort or the person. It is simply transmitting data about the current approach, strategy, or internal alignment. This data is invaluable because it pinpoints where refinement is necessary, saving you countless cycles of repeating an ineffective pattern. This failure is a whisper saying, refine, not retreat. The common instinct upon encountering a setback is to recoil, to interpret the pain of the unexpected outcome as a definitive sign that the pursuit must be abandoned. However, the true difference between those who succeed and those who merely try is their response to this data. The successful individual views the negative result not as a reason to stop, but as a critical piece of diagnostic information. It prompts a detailed review. What was the faulty assumption? Where was the misalignment in the strategy? What internal belief sabotaged the external action? This process of refinement, of adjusting the trajectory, honing the skill, or strengthening the commitment is the very engine of mastery. Retreating, by contrast, is the only true act of failure, as it is the refusal to learn and apply the necessary feedback. When something doesn't go your way, it's not rejection, it's redirection. We often fall in love with a specific path to a goal, believing that only one road can lead us to our desired destination. When that chosen path closes off, a job offer falls through, a relationship ends, a business venture stalls, it feels like a complete and painful rejection of the entire dream. But frequently, what feels like a closed door is simply life saying, "Not this way, try another." The perceived rejection is often divine redirection, steering you away from a less optimal route that may have been fraught with hidden long-term problems and guiding you toward a superior alternative you were too narrowly focused to see. The redirection forces a broader perspective and often requires you to develop skills or make connections that would have been unnecessary on the original path, ultimately preparing you more fully for the eventual success. The only true failure is giving up before the story is complete. All great journeys are characterized by periods of intense challenge, missteps, and apparent defeats. These moments, however, are merely chapters in a larger narrative. The failure occurs only when the author you decides to put down the pen and declare the story finished, before the climax or resolution has been reached. True failure is a decision, not an outcome. It is the conscious choice to let a temporary setback define the entirety of your potential. By contrast, the act of persistence, of continuing to move forward despite the immediate result, renders any previous setback merely a learning experience, a prerequisite step, or a dramatic plot twist. The most beautiful part of your journey may still be unwritten. It is critical to maintain perspective, especially when deep in the emotional fog of a supposed failure. What you are experiencing now is likely not the final scene, but a difficult yet crucial middle act. Don't stop now, because the moment you think it's over might be the exact moment destiny starts to unfold. Often, the final successful attempt is immediately preceded by the attempt that felt the most crushing. The accumulation of knowledge from all the preceding failures is the invisible infrastructure that makes the final breakthrough possible. To quit now is to negate all the learning, all the emotional investment, and all the invisible progress that has already been banked. The ability to reframe setbacks as nothing more than essential, objective feedback is the hallmark of unstoppable momentum, ensuring you utilize every experience to propel yourself forward toward the unwritten and extraordinary chapters of your life. The concept of persistence transcends mere willpower. It is rooted in observable neurological and psychological processes. It is, in essence, a sophisticated scientific method for rewiring the brain toward desired outcomes. When you keep showing up, even when you feel nothing, you're rewiring your brain for victory. This seemingly simple act of repeated commitment, especially in the absence of motivating feeling or external reward, activates the principles of neuroplasticity. The brain is not a static organ. It constantly reorganizes itself by forming new neural connections throughout life. Every time you choose the positive action over the negative inertia, you are strengthening the neural pathway associated with discipline and achievement, while simultaneously allowing the pathway linked to doubt and giving up to weaken and eventually prune away. Every time you choose discipline over doubt, focus over fear, you strengthen new neural pathways of resilience. Discipline is the conscious, strategic decision to align your actions with your long-term goals, regardless of immediate emotional state. Doubt and fear, on the other hand, are highly efficient derailers that trigger the brain's primitive survival mechanisms, urging you toward retreat or avoidance. The persistence challenge lies in overriding the immediate emotional urgency of fear with a calculated logic of discipline. With repetition, the brain starts to recognize the disciplined action as the new default setting. The initially difficult choice becomes automated, transforming from a demanding effort of willpower into an established habit and eventually a fixed part of your character. This sustained, deliberate practice is the bedrock of resilience, teaching your mind that temporary discomfort is a small price for permanent growth. Your subconscious begins to believe, this is who I am now. The subconscious mind is the powerful control center that dictates 90% of your behavior, operating on deeply ingrained beliefs about identity. It does not respond well to abstract verbal affirmations alone. It responds to evidence. When you consistently persist, when you show up to work out even though you are tired, when you keep calling clients after being rejected, or when you continue to write despite writer's block, you are providing irrefutable behavioral evidence to your subconscious that you are a persistent, determined, and resilient person. The subconscious mind, being a powerful belief engine, observes this repeated action and updates your core identity file. It sheds the old programming of I am easily discouraged and adopts the new one. I am someone who finishes what they start. Once this belief is internalized, your efforts become effortless because your inner world is now perfectly aligned with your persistent behavior. The power of persistence isn't about never falling, it's about rising faster each time you do. Perfection is an impossible and counterproductive standard. Setbacks are inevitable. What defines success is not the absence of failure, but the recovery time from it. Persistence is the skill that dramatically reduces this recovery time. Instead of dwelling in the defeat for days or weeks, the persistent mind, conditioned by consistent action, swiftly analyzes the situation, absorbs the lesson, and immediately pivots back toward the goal. The body learns consistency, the mind learns certainty. By repeatedly engaging in the process of failing, learning, and immediately restarting, your physiological and psychological systems become highly efficient at adaptation. Your body develops the muscle memory for the task, and your mind develops the mental frameworks for certainty. Believing with unwavering conviction that the outcome is secured, only the timing remains flexible, and soon your energy becomes unshakable. The ultimate reward of persistence is not just the achievement of the external goal, but the development of this unshakable internal energy. This is the energy of inner certainty, where you operate from a deep sense of knowing rather than hoping. When your mind, body, and subconscious are all aligned through consistent action, your entire energetic signature changes. You become a powerful, unwavering force that magnetically attracts the required circumstances and resources. This established momentum makes the journey forward feel less like a struggle and more like an inevitable unfolding. The cumulative effect of choosing discipline over doubt, day after day, transforms you into a powerful expression of your own goals, making success less about effort and more about simply existing in the state of a persistent and victorious being. The journey toward profound realization and major breakthrough is often punctuated by a final, deceptive phase known as the moment before the miracle. This period is critical and highly sensitive, characterized by a deep, palpable silence. There's a sacred calm right before the shift. This calm is not inactivity. It is the stillness of maximum potential energy just before it converts to kinetic action. It is the moment when everything seems still, silent, and uncertain, which can be the most psychologically challenging phase of the entire process. After all the intense labor, the consistent persistence, and the courageous battles through resistance, the sudden quiet can be misinterpreted as failure, abandonment, or the complete cessation of movement. But in that stillness, the miracle is forming. This silence is the universe's way of ensuring the perfect, non-chaotic assembly of all the elements you have been working for. Think of the intense pressure and heat required for a diamond to crystallize. The final, most essential part of the process is often the quiet, concentrated moment of alignment. Every intention you've ever released, every disciplined effort you've exerted, and every mental blueprint you've held is now being gathered and integrated into a coherent physical form. This stage is necessary because true miracles, significant, life-altering shifts require immaculate timing and the precise alignment of countless variables, many of which operate outside of your immediate awareness. Life is gathering every intention you've ever released and aligning it with perfect timing. The perfect timing is not always the fastest timing, it is the most advantageous timing for the sustainability and magnitude of the outcome. The universe ensures that you are emotionally ready, that the market conditions are right, that the key people are in place, and that all necessary resources have converged. Your earlier efforts created the content of the miracle. This moment of stillness is defining the context and the container for its arrival. Any impatience or attempt to rush this phase can disrupt the delicate coordination, much like prematurely opening an oven door can ruin a souffle. Therefore, the imperative during this sacred quiet is profound. Don't quit in the waiting. Don't doubt the delay. The temptation to give up is often strongest just as the finish line is coming into view, because the inner tension created by sustained desire and current reality reaches its peak. The mind, programmed for instant gratification, interprets the lack of movement as permanent lack. This is the final test of faith and commitment. If you quit now, you waste all the accumulated momentum of the previous keynotes, the transformation, the invisible progress, the conquering of resistance, the energetic alignment, and the refinement through feedback. The perceived delay is only the final preparation, ensuring the ground is firm enough to hold the weight of your forthcoming success. You're closer than you think, so close that one act of faith, one breath of gratitude, one more sunrise of belief could change everything. The difference between the long period of effort and the moment of manifestation is often just a single, final, decisive, energetic input. That input is the absolute, unwavering certainty that it is done. Faith at this stage is not hoping, it is knowing. Gratitude is not thanking for what you have, it is thanking in advance for what you know is already en route. This final commitment to belief locks the intention into reality. The energy required for this final pull is small, but the conviction required is absolute. Stay open, stay aligned, and trust that what's meant for you is already making its way toward you. Your unwavering patience and deep trust in this final, quiet moment confirm your readiness to receive the full, magnificent expression of your efforts. The collective wisdom embedded in these 7 keynotes illuminates the entire, often misunderstood architecture of transformation. We have journeyed from the edge of transformation, recognizing that the greatest breakthroughs are forged in the fires of near breaking points, where discomfort serves not as punishment but as friction for expansion. We then embrace the power of invisible progress, shifting our perspective to understand that the most vital growth occurs silently and unseen, where the seed develops its roots before the dramatic, visible emergence. The path inevitably led us to confront the threshold of resistance, where the tension between the old self clinging to safety and the new self demanding surrender is sacred. Confirming we are actively rewriting our identity, this understanding prepared us for the law of energetic alignment, the profound realization that external reality is merely a mirror of our internal state, compelling us to embody the vibration of our desires before the evidence appears. We learn to reframe setbacks through the illusion of failure, recognizing that failure is simply feedback, not rejection, acting as redirection toward a superior path. Finally, we explored the science of persistence, appreciating that consistent, disciplined action is a powerful neurological process that literally rewires the brain for victory, moving us from hoping to knowing. All these elements culminate at the moment before the miracle, the final quiet stillness where all intentions are perfectly aligned. The entire script, therefore, serves as a comprehensive guide, a call to embrace friction, trust the unseen process, conquer inner doubt, maintain high frequency, utilize feedback, commit to consistency, and hold unwavering faith in the sacred stillness just before destiny unfolds.